Stuffed clams coming up from the BBQ Pit Boys. Delicious seafood that will impress. I mean, come on! Look at those! Right here on Vert Der Ferk.
All right, welcome back this week. And the cookbook this week is BBQ Pit Boys, stars of YouTube. They have one of the best grill smoking channels around. Check them out. And it's their book of real good barbecue. The recipe that we selected is stuffed clams.
That's what she said.
I'm not much of a seafood person. I don't have a lot of experience with it. So this is going to be a very interesting kind of recipe. Now, they call for clams, shrimp, lobster claws, king crab legs, Rhode Island clams. Okay, being in Alberta, a landlocked province, in December, some of these items are a little bit harder to do, and I don't want to make these videos going to super marquee kind of places. So we're just going to use and substitute what we could find. So for that, we have Arctic surf clams that I was able to get that are raw, and we have some Pacific white shrimp. We have some crab claw meat. And of course, just as the recipe calls, and I think is the biggest component, is the whole baby clams. And this will be our seafood component here today. We also couldn't find real large clam shells that you're supposed to serve these in. But if you go on Amazon, you can find metal seashells that you can use for grilling and all kinds of stuff like that. So let's get started and let's see how she goes. All right, we're going to start with some white wine to get some steam going. We've got our clams. Normally we would do this with the shell on, but we're working with what we got. And the Pacific shrimp. We're going to put a lid on this and we're going to try to steam it for about 8 to 10 minutes or so, or until we think everything is fully cooked. Okay, so looking in the pan, we got the shrimp are looking like they're done. So I'm going to tell me the oyster or the clams are probably done as well. So we are just going to put this aside and off the heat. And then we're going to move on to our onions and garlic. All right, so now that we got the shrimp and the clams off the heat, we've got 1 onion here and about 2 cloves of garlic. And we're just going to soften these guys up. Okay, so we got the onions browned lightly there. We're just going to throw in about a couple tablespoons of butter. And as soon as this is melted, we're going to take this guy off the heat. And then we're almost ready to assemble basically our mix for the stuffed clams. Okay, so now we're going to take out our shrimp and our oysters, and we're going to get rid of the shells and the tails and all the bits that we don't want. And then we're going to add the crab meat, and we're going to chop up kind of all of our seafood and then put that aside. Okay, we've deshelled the shrimp, and now we want to get them and the clams into little bite-sized pieces. So we are going to chop this up really well. And then afterwards, we're going to add the crab meat and then put all that aside. All right, so we've gotten everything kind of chopped up where we want it. And we're just going to put this guy into a bowl. And then we're going to add our crab claw meat. And then we're just going to mix this guy together because the crab meat is already pre-cooked. All right, so for the breading mix, we're going to use just a pre-made seasoned stuffing mix. And we got the old stovetop on here. And it's about 4 boxes that we're looking for. All right, we're ready to assemble. We have our stovetop stuffing here. So we have our 1 can of baby clams, and the juice is going right inside there. We have our reserved broth from steaming the shrimp and the clams with the white wine. That's going to go in there. So we want all that flavor. And then I have here some chicken broth. And what we're looking for is we want quite a wet consistency because this is going to go in the smoker and we don't want it to dry out. We want it to kind of maintain an appealing texture when we serve it up. Stuffing mix. And now at this time, we're going to toss in our onions and garlic. and our seafood mix. So I think the idea here is it's very similar to kind of the idea of a crab cake in terms of like a doughy kind of breading, but we're using a majority of it is going to be clams and others.
All right, so we're ready to get our shells ready for the smoker. These were the fun little shells I was telling you about. You can get these guys on Amazon. Saves you having to try to find them real shells to do. And all we're simply going to do is just take our breading mix, and we're just going to try to put as much of that in there as we can. All right, and we're ready for the smoker. We're going to put this on for about half an hour at 300, 350. And all we're doing is going to make it kind of really hot. This used about half of the dough that we made up, so we got plenty. If it's good, we got plenty to make a whole nother batch.
So because I'm not going to subject Mrs. Vert Der Ferk to come out here and film in this cold, we're now ready to put these guys on the smoke. Those are my burnt ends over there. Okay, so it's been half an hour, and as you can see, they're looking wonderful.
Okay, so we're out of the smoke, and I put a little dab of butter just to add a little bit more moisture to it. And now we're gonna see kind of what it's like. That is really good. The seafood is definitely present, but it's not overpowering. So for people who don't care for like fishy flavor, as they say, this doesn't have that at all. And the stovetop has a lot of seasoning already in it. And it kind of really just, the stovetop comes through a lot with just the slight seafood flavors kind of in the background before. But this is really, really good. If you dig seafood, you're gonna love this. So there we are. BBQ Pit Boys stuffed clams. Awesome, big success. Check it out in the cookbook.
Where one random cookbook decides what's for dinner, and destiny decides the rest. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more Cookbook Roulette adventures.